Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm going to show you some posing tips for when you're wearing a swimsuit. This can also be applied to if you're wearing lingerie. There's just sort of basic poses when you're scantily clad. So when you want to get those beautiful bikini shots at the beach, in your home, up on the balcony, whatever, I'm going to go through what I've learned in my 11 years of modeling, and I'm going to try and impart some information onto you all out there. So without further ado, my bikini just undid itself. Let's get started. So if you haven't already, watch my video, which is just the basics on the do's and don'ts of posing. I go into detail about lighting and that and sort of hand positions and things. So keep in mind, you're in your bikini, lingerie, whatever, keep in mind where is the light coming from. You want to face that light source. Sometimes you can have backlit photos, but often if you're shooting on an iPhone and things like that, it is quite hard to have you being shown up properly without sort of lifting the light up, and then the background ends up really blown out. So you can have backlit photos if you, with backlighting, let's say the sun's behind you, if you have a light source coming from in front as well. So just be wary of where the light is coming from. If you're in a bikini at the beach, it's better to shoot early morning or late afternoon with that sort of golden, softer light when the sun is lower in the sky. Face the sun, so it's sort of hitting you and it will be more soft and diffused at those hours. Don't do it in the middle of the day when the sun is directly above you, casting those awful shadows. Oakley dokley, to start off with, we're going to take there's someone in front of us and we're going to be taking some front-on photos. Now, if the sun is in front of you, you do not want the person standing directly in front of you because they will cast a shadow across your body. So you want them slightly off to the side. And then you also want to make sure that their shadow is not sort of showing behind you or in the shot. So that's just something to be wary of as well, especially if you're asking like a family member or a roommate to take a photo and they've got no clue. All right, so to start off with, you don't sort of want to be like neck forward, sort of hunched and like stomach not engaged. What you want to do is, I always come up on my tippy toes because I think that automatically just changes the shape of your whole body. Even if your feet aren't in the photo, I would say come up on tippy toes, pull those shoulders back, not too much, and we want to engage our core. I'm just automatically already doing that. As soon as I sort of come up on tippy toes and I have my shoulders back, it's like, yep, what, taking photos, video, here I am. But, so you don't want to suck in like, because I think that's just a really obvious look when someone's sort of sucking their stomach in, which is what sort of our go-to for women when we're having photos taken. We're like, no, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is engage your core. So instead of sucking in, and instead of just relaxing so we have a tum-tum, what we're going to do is we're going to crunch like we're doing sort of a semi-sit-up. So we're going to crunch those abs and we're going to engage our core. And so what that'll do is that automatically give a little bit of definition, but it will also just flatten your stomach without you having to suck in. You might still have a little bit of a pouch if you've got a bit of a pouch, but that's cute, don't worry. You don't need to suck that in or hide it. Just sort of crunch, and that'll flatten your stomach naturally. I've just eaten, so I'm like, all right. Shoulders back, crunch that stomach. And when you crunch your stomach, you also end up just tucking your bum in a little bit. Naturally, when you engage your core, your bum sort of tucks in. It's all sort of part of the posture. So you don't want to be doing this when you're having front-on photos, because it'll actually make your stomach sort of look rounded. You want to tuck your booty under, engage those abs, shoulders back. I often like to sort of do poses where I have my arms up and stuff, because that automatically elongates the body and lifts everything up. So I'm still on my tippy toes at the moment, and I do often quite like poses like this, or lifting my hands up, or one hand down, one hand up. Now with the hands, you want to keep them as dainty and elegant as possible. You don't sort of want them flat on you here or there. You sort of want them at a slight angle. So if you've got your hand resting on your thigh, you don't want it flat to the camera. Unless you're a guy, that's fine, because it's more of a masculine sort of look. But as a woman, you sort of want to just tilt it to the side and just have it a little bit more dainty. So you just see the side of it and you see those fingers, like that. Another thing I often do is I sort of put my weight to one side a little bit. So I've currently got my weight on this leg, and then this one's just sort of bending over. I've still got my abs engaged. I've still got my shoulders pulled back. You can also do some with sort of the legs apart, which is also a pretty cute look. You do want to keep your knees a bit loose. You don't sort of want them locked because you will get that sort of, for me anyway, because I've got quite thick thighs, I'll get that bulge over my knee. So I want to keep them a little bit loose. When you're doing this pose, you do want to push your booty out just a touch, but still keep those abs engaged. So when you have your booty tucked in, you'll notice that this sort of all flattens out and comes forward. But when you tilt it ever so slightly, it just gives that little bit more elongation and it's just a little bit more flattering, but still keep those abs engaged, shoulders back, and then you can work with your legs apart sort of pose. It's a bit more strong, it's a bit more powerful. This one's sort of a bit more demure in terms of posing. Alrighty, let's go on to side-on shots now. So let's say you're at the beach and you're wanting some side-on photos in your bikini. Once again, where is that light coming from? Keep that in mind. I would ideally sort of want the light coming from this sort of area, not too much from the back, not too much from the front. There are really no rules though when it comes to this. Like, you can have the light coming from anywhere, but just for the basics, this is what we're sticking with. We're sticking with the safest options, what works best most of the time. So you want sort of light still coming from this sort of area, not too high in the sky. For me, my booty looks really different from different angles. I find this angle where I've got this leg bent like so, my booty pops the most. And then if I keep going, it sort of starts to flatten out a little bit here. So it's also a matter of knowing your body shape and what works best for you in regards to how you're built. So for me, I go on the side, I just bend this leg and it just pops my booty that little bit more. I don't want my arms too far back because I'm going to lose the curve in my back if I have my arms too far back. So I sort of want them to be in parallel with the center of my torso, and put my weight is in my back leg currently. This is what happens when the weight goes into the front leg. Well, for starters, I can't bend it, and then I don't have the same sort of shape. So put it in the back leg, bend this one, arm, center, not interrupting that shape. You could alternately have that arm up and sort of do this sort of posing too, because you're still going to get those curves and they're not going to be interrupted by that arm. A lot of girls sort of hold their hands here and do like a bit of a bunny pose, which can look pretty cute. I would suggest sort of resting it on your thigh, like so. Now this is a sort of semi-side-on pose, which is sort of more from the front, which I find is a really good go-to pose for me, where I have the weight in my back leg still and I have one leg coming forward. It's quite a strong sort of superhero look. Because it sort of broadens your shoulders, your waist naturally looks more narrow, and it's just strong with those arms up. So that's always a good go-to pose for me. This also applies for when you're taking photos of your girlfriends too. You want to be aware of where their arm positioning is. So if your girlfriends, you know, they're pulling those poses and they're looking really cute, let's say their elbow is just here. Just say, hey babe, bring your elbow just like 10 centimeters forward sort of thing. Just bring that elbow in a little bit. Or you can go and you can just move her elbow in, because she can't see what she looks like through the camera, but you can see what her posing looks like. So if you want to be a good friend, keep that in mind about where their positioning is and what feedback you can give them to get the best pose out of them, to get those best photos for your friends as well. So full length wise, what I've got here is I'm on my tippy toes, always tippy toes. Now I've got the leg in front of the other one. When the leg sort of comes over, it just gives that sort of beautiful sort of Venus de Milo look. And you can also sort of put most of the weight here and sort of curve that hip a little bit. So that's always a good one. Here's the full length of that one I was talking about earlier as well, which I said always looks sort of good and strong and a bit superhero-like. Alrighty, now I'm going to go into some quick poses for when you're sitting down. So I'll do it just on this chair that I just happen to have handy. Okay, so you're sitting down, you're posing, you're in your swimsuit, lingerie, whatever. This also applies for when you're wearing, you know, dresses and things. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the weight on just one side. So we can put the weight on this side, or we can put the weight in this cheek. Okay, and then Straight away, we can already see that we're getting that hourglass shape. Those curves are showing. We're making the most of it. Okay, so it's not the most comfortable, and you'll find this with a lot of posing. If it's uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. I've put all my weight on this side and this bum cheek. It's not the most comfortable. My bone's sort of digging into the chair, but guess what? It looks good. Now, instead of just sort of having the legs like so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this one over, curve it, and lay it on top of the other one. Bam, elegant. It's also quite a pin-up sort of look. So we've got all that weight on this side, curve that leg, I've placed it over. We're getting that curve here, the shape is starting to show up, and the stomach is also naturally lifting up more because we've got more room to work with, we're elongating ourselves. Alrighty, and now with the hands, this is a bit tricky. Even I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Alright, so with the hands, we can we don't want to lose that shape again. Like we don't want to put the arm there and then boom, we've lost our shape. So we want the arm to sort of sit here, can sit here. You can put both your hands up. You can do this so that you've still got that curve of the body. You are losing a little bit of shape here, but it still looks really nice, this pose. So you can sort of have the arm coming across to the side, up. Just don't have the arm sort of hiding that curve. Sort of there as well, you're sort of seeing the curve still, that's still really nice. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. And then you can have it on the other side as well, there we go. So this as well looks really cute for lingerie and things. A good one, if someone's shooting you from above, this can be a really cute look because your thighs really flatten out and they look really big and thick and juicy. And what that does, it doesn't make your waist slimmer doing this pose, but what it does is it gives the illusion of your waist being extra small in comparison to the rest of you because your thighs have suddenly gotten bigger and flatter, so they look really big and juicy. So sitting in this pose, suddenly our waist looks smaller just because our thighs have gotten bigger. So that's a really cute sort of look as well. It's like, you know, hashtag thick. And then you can sort of have your hands up, smiling. You know, you don't want to sort of hide that shape because look, all of a sudden I look like a ball. So you don't want to have those elbows in. You sort of, once again, want to have them off to the side, sort of up, showing off that shape, embracing those thick thighs, ladies. And then obviously you can move into the realm of, you know, more pin-up poses, but that's a whole other video because you can do all these other poses with a chair and things. But yeah, that's a whole other video, like on pin-up poses. I do think that pin-up poses are really flattering and they're really beautiful on many different body shapes, and they're really good for showing off the curves. But yeah, so that's all the basics of poses in a bikini. Please let me know if I've left anything out or if you have any tips, tricks that you want to share. And also any other suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that it was helpful. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!